Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea here anonymously. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Hope you guys are having an amazing last few days of 2022, you guys. And we are going to get into it. So, we are going to be talking about the best man, you guys, the final chapters. And this particular video, we're going to be discussing the first two episodes because that's how far I've gotten this far, you guys. Your girl is super busy. So I am going to react to the first couple of episodes, because it was pretty lit, you guys. It was pretty lit. In the beginning, basically, there was a recap, kind of a, basically showing you the highlights of what took place in the original movie, but The Best Man, as well as The Best Man Holiday. And then it kind of flashes forward at the beginning of the show, the beginning of the first episode to 2024, where it looks like Taye Diggs is going to be giving some type of TED Talk or speaking engagement or what have you. And then he shouts out his soulmate, and then the camera pans to Jordan. So I don't know ultimately what happens, but I presume that they are going to end up together is basically what I kind of took away from this. But please do not spoil those of you who have seen beyond the first two episodes, because I've only seen the first two, so I don't know specifically what'll happen yet, but we'll see. So then from there, we then get into Shelby. Andy Cohen from Bravo makes an appearance. He is doing his whole shtick from Watch What Happens Live, and basically interviewing Shelby because she's a real housewife, and saying, her reaction was kind of over the top to, of course, Terrence Howard's character Quentin getting engaged and everything else. And so, she's trying to downplay it, but then they roll the footage, and she definitely is upset about all of that. So, definitely has a reaction to it, but is definitely trying to play it down. And there is that. And also we find that Quentin has asked Harper, Taye Diggs' character, to be the best man. So we already know that that is going to end up being a hot mess of some sort. And Murch is, of course, jealous because he is the one who is Quentin's best friend. He is the one who was Quentin's roommate back in college, and he feels slighted, so he keeps making these little jabs. So then we get to Harper, and basically he's blowing up. Basically his agent calls him and tells him, hey, we want to make unfinished business into a film, right? People are interested in making this into a film. So Harper's all excited. And then his wife, Robin, which is played by Sanaya Lathan, she is up here doing meal food delivery stuff, via online, and has all of these customers and things of that nature that she has to cook and make these, prep foods for and everything else. And then, of course, baby Mia is there. And, basically she tells Harper, she's cool with it, but make sure the gang's cool with it. Make sure everybody in the group is okay with, this particular movie coming out, because basically the book is based off of them. So from there, they go on, Harper and Murch, they go to find Morris Chestnut's character, Lance, because Lance is having a difficult time coping with the death of his ex-wife, his late wife, Mia, you guys. And basically is, drowning his sorrows literally by sowing his oats, literally by hooking up with anything and everything. And basically looks like he's staying at some hotel, not around his kids as often. As of course you guys know, Jordan, played by Nia Long, is going to be the godmother of the 4 kids, I believe it is. And so he pretty much in Lance's downtime is out here literally in these hotel streets, just literally having sex with anything that moves. And basically Murch is trying to hold off on his blessing for Harper doing the movie until Harper tells Lance that basically he's doing this movie to find out what his reaction, to make sure that he doesn't kill him. So there is that. So basically they go to his hotel room to have an intervention, to be like, hey, we need you to come to Quentin's wedding, you guys. We need you to come to Quentin's wedding. It's on his family resort, and this could be good for you. This could be a good change of scenery, this and that. This could kind of help you get out of your funk and everything else that you're going through as far as this grieving process. And so forth. Then there's also something weird that is going on with Murch and his marriage. I don't know, he's acting very weird. He is acting very weird and very awkward, you guys. So we have not reached yet ultimately what is causing why he's acting so weird as of late. But more to come on that, you guys. And so then we go into Saint Pierre, you guys, and it's just beautiful views, beautiful vibes, everything else. And of course, everybody is looking at Lance. Everybody is looking at how fine he is, and he is already hooking up, you guys, with both the tourists as well as the workers, you guys, at this resort. And so then we finally meet Terrence Howard and his fiance, who's played by Nicole R.A. Parker, who of course is Boris Kodjoe's wife. And it is just, she is playing this role where she is like, Mother Earth. She's like very like into, the holistic approach to life, the energies, the sage, the, different types of rituals and practices and so forth, and drinking weird things, and just feeling at one with everything, not doing any drugs or alcohol or things of that nature, because Merch tried to slip in some edibles, and basically Terrence Howard said thanks but no thanks. I am all clean and everything else. But everybody kind of notices that something is off with Quentin. He's still not himself, even though he seems happy with this new woman. And she's super successful. She's won all these awards. She's a global superstar and this and that. But they just notice that he's changed, but not necessarily for the better, right? And so from there, essentially everything kind of just continues to unfold. Is, the men find out that basically Terrence Howard's character, Quentin, plans on moving to Tibet as well as Colorado and splitting his time between both. And everybody's just kind of shook because they're like, you're a city guy. Like, what in the heck is going on? And everything else. So there is that. So then they have this ceremony, you guys, where it's like a ring ceremony, but they're actually getting rings tattooed to each other, you guys. They're getting ring tattooed. And so then Terrence Howard's father, he is pressing him to make sure that the prenup is signed and everything else. And then it looks like Lance falls for this, resort director of this wedding trip and everything else, until he finds out that she is engaged and feels a certain type of way. So I wonder whether or not we will see her again in the series. More to come on that. Also, Shelby crashes this ring ceremony, you guys, because as she was FaceTiming with Jordan, Jordan basically showed her where she was, and basically Shelby gets on the next flight, you guys. She gets on the next flight. Her and Quentin start arguing. Quentin's fiance, is basically calling her Shelly on purpose, even though she knows her actual name, because she mentions later that she's a fan of the Housewives shows, but she's doing it to be petty because it's obviously, her soon-to-be husband's ex-situationship. And so they start arguing, and then they end up hooking up, you guys. They end up having sex, and it's just a hot mess. It's like that crazy toxicity of a situationship of an ex that, like, you just cannot get rid of. But everybody knows at this point that, there's some reason that Terrence and Shelby, Quentin and Shelby keep coming back to each other, right? And so, basically the next morning, Quentin's fiance, she comes up to Shelby and she's like, I know you slept with my, fiance, basically, and you may sleep with him on occasion, but that's my man, basically. So she just has Shelby completely rattled. So, Shelby basically feels like she's going to immerse herself in the weekend and really try to blend in and try to, pretend to be supportive of Quentin, but really she's plotting to see how she can, show Quentin what he is missing and hopefully stop the wedding, you guys. So then, the men, specifically Merch, ends up planning the bachelor party, and it just goes off the rails, you guys. He hires these strippers, you guys, but ends up when he goes to introduce them, already like hits one of them in the face. So it already just starts off on the wrong energy, the wrong foot, and everything else. And so, from there, after that, what happens is Merch's wife, she comes in and, she's like very nervous, but then starts to introduce Shelby, basically doing this striptease / lap dance for, Quentin, and they're playing Jodeci's Freakin' You, and it is just hilarious, because the first time I saw it, I was cracking up because I was completely shocked. Like, I was not expecting it. But then as I've like rewatched the scene a few times, now it's like I think it's, incredible. I think it's amazing. I think, everybody looks amazing, right? Everybody looks amazing. They're 40 somethings and what have you. Everybody looks great for their age. I mean, she was doing moves and things of that nature that people probably weren't expecting. I thought she gave what it needed to give, and it basically got, Quentin hot and bothered. He was losing his mind. He wanted to cuss out Merch and, basically called Harper the worst best man ever. And then Merch thought he was about to get cussed out too. And then he was like, psych, this is like the best thing ever. And so then after this dance, basically Shelby texts, Quentin to, be like, hey, meet me here at 1 a.m., out on the beach overlooking the water. And it ends up being Harper and, Quentin's fiance show up and basically are like, you need to get the F out of here. You need to be on the first plane out of here because you're causing too much trouble. You're causing too much ruckus. So we need you to go. And so basically she is at the airport and she is up and out of there. And so they tell Quentin the next morning, the day of the wedding, and he's like freaking out. And so he plays it off like he wants Harper to take him to the airport so that he can, quote, make sure that she is really there, only for him to profess his love to her and get down on bended knees, you guys, and beg for Shelby to stay, and basically says that he can't live without her. Then next thing we know, they end up being the ones that get married on this resort, you guys. They end up being the ones that get married on this resort. It is all a hot mess. Shelby then drops a bomb that basically her daughter Kennedy is, in fact, Quentin. So that's like a whole nother mess because she's been calling him uncle this entire time. So it's all a hot mess. Then they show how basically, Quentin's ex-fiance was going Angela Bassett and burning everything down. When he tried to break things off with her and let her know that him and her would not be getting married this weekend at the resort. And it was just a lot. And then there's something going on with Sanaya's character, Robin, you guys. I'm not sure what exactly. She's like very serious about potentially staying in San Pierre because she got taken with this woman who is also a cook and, basically cooking some type of Caribbean foods and everything else. And she's like obsessed with like the food and the ingredients and the different recipes, and literally sees herself as, basically relocating to this island, you guys. Like literally just packing up, her marriage and everything else and just being like, hey, we're just going to, be here. I feel at one with this place and everything else. So, Harper is completely shook because he's like, WTF? And she's trying to sell it to him. Like, you can still write, you can still do X, Y, and Z, and blah, 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 blah. And he's just not featuring it. He's not seeing, the vision and everything else. He loves the resort. He would love to come back, but he's not trying to be a permanent resident at this place and everything else. So, more to come on that. And so then from there, you guys, also we get, the agent for Harper that's basically like, hey, you need to make a decision on this movie. Are you going to do this movie or not? He finally, of course, lets Lance know. At first, Lance does not, he first seems cool about it. Then he cusses out Harper and, basically tells him, feels a certain type of way about this because he was still grieving his wife, being at this island and everything else. And so then towards the end of it, he ultimately is fine with it at the wedding and at the reception and basically tells Harper, hey, as long as you are not, as long as whoever is playing Mia, whoever that character is, I get to sign off on her, right? So then from there, it shows basically everybody, the whole crew, partying on this yacht, you guys. And basically having a good time. Robin, she's really still trying to sell moving to San Pierre permanently. She's up here jumping off of the yacht and like scaring people. But basically she's just in this whole like Zen free love, freedom type of energy. And so more to come on that. So that's kind of where things left off, right? So the agent, of course, then sends Harper basically like, look how much money they are offering you for this particular movie adaptation. So then Harper, has a different type of energy, right? He has a different type of energy now that the price has gone up. that today's price is not yesterday's price, right? So he is really trying to make this happen. So that's kind of where we leave off. And Nia Long's character, Jordan, she's also at a crossroads in terms of her career because she meets this guy. And those of you who don't know, he used to play on Bigger, the BET Plus show, and was basically known for hooking up with the main character, and basically has has certain large attributes. I'll just keep it at that, basically. But he has this role where basically he is trying to woo Jordan's character on the island. She finds out that he's like a shaman and everything else, and basically she kind of rejects him at first. And then, once he basically tells her that she's a workaholic and she needs to relax on vacation, the moment that she does that, then he starts to, then basically he ghosts her, but really it's because he is, busy, booked and busy, doing the shaman stuff. And, also was booked with the engaged couple with Quentin and his fiance and the friend group, doing their rituals and stuff. And so, from there we see that Jordan is, trying to, make some moves at MSNBC and everything else. And that's kind of where we left off with episode 2. So it looks like for the upcoming episodes, at least I haven't seen any previews or anything, but my interpretation is going to be we're going to see how this film adaptation unfolds for Harper, how all this comes together. We might see some more family stuff that's going to come in with Lance and maybe his kids and how things are going with that. We're also going to see ultimately what happens with Murch and his marriage and find out what actually is going on and why there's like this weird tension and this weird awkwardness that's going on between them. And ultimately we're going to find out what's going on with Robin, because Robin seems like she's ready to risk everything to remain in Saint Pierre, right? And then ultimately I presume at some point Lance is going to find love again. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not it's going to be with this lady from the resort or not, or if because his reaction to her is going to propel him to want to, start dating again and not just be recklessly sleeping with people, right? So more to come on that. And then we will ultimately see what happens in this marriage of Quentin and Shelby, because I know it is going to be nothing but chaos, you guys. I know it is going to be nothing but chaos, and I cannot wait to ultimately see it. So there's that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Now, keep in mind, this is only the first 2 episodes, my reaction to the first 2 episodes. That's why I've kind of broke it up, because I really had like a lot I wanted to say in these recaps for each of the episodes. So I'm just going to kind of do it in pairs of 2 episodes at a time, to just kind of give my full unfiltered thoughts on everything, and then you guys can kind of just comment on that. So just let me know what you guys think in the comments only on the first 2 episodes, and we will reunite again for the next time for episodes 3 and 4 review when I am able to watch it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.